Hey everybody, happy Monday. Hope you're all doing great. Um, Going to continue along on our series of helpful hints on how to make a great offer stand out against the competition and really just put yourself in the best position when you're writing an offer to purchase a house or a condo in competition. As we know, we keep talking about this every day. The market's very tight. There's a lot of buyers, not as much inventory. So we have to be on our very best behavior, write the best offer, and use the best tools. So we want to talk about the financing contingency today. When you're writing an offer, it's a promise. It's more or less like remember the old Schoolhouse Rock cartoon. Some of us, if we're old enough, there was a series about Capitol Hill and how a bill becomes a law. Well, an offer is just a promise until the seller accepts it, and then it really becomes a contract, right? So when you write that offer, it's a promise to buy the house. We put contingencies into that offer, which essentially are saying, I promise to buy the house, but only if this or only if that. With the financing contingency, we're saying we promise to buy the house, but only if we get approved for the financing we need to buy it. Well, that means that the seller is going to be taking a little bit of a chance on you, right? They're taking the house off the market, so they're missing out possibly on other opportunities to sell to other people. They're continuing to rack up costs of taxes and utilities and things while they're waiting for the transaction to close. So we want to give them an assurance that your finances are strong enough to get that loan so that when the closing day comes, the money is going to get transferred over to them and they can give you the keys. The number one way to give them that confidence is to provide a letter of pre-approval. And what this means is that you've met with or talked with a lending institution who's looked at your finances, done a preliminary search, and they've determined that you're highly likely to be approved for a loan. It doesn't mean 100%, but it does mean that they really put you in the high probability chance that everything will go smoothly. Not all lenders are created equal. So when we provide a letter of pre-approval, we want to make sure that it's a very good, strong, well-known, reputable lender. Some sellers prefer not to work with out-of-state lenders, or their realtors may recommend that they don't. Or big banks, sometimes they're more difficult to deal with or whatever. And it's really just depends on people's experience. But whatever lender you choose, you want to keep these things in mind. You want to have a lender with a good reputation. So when you give that the letter to the seller, it really means something to them. When you give that letter pre-approval, it will contain oftentimes, first of all, the purchase price that you're offering for the property and the loan amount. So from there, we can determine as a seller, we would be able to see what your down payment is. You're buying a house for $300,000. Your loan amount is going to be 100, let's say 200,000. So that means you have $100,000 down payment. And then it will also typically show your interest rate, and it may or may not include an estimation of your monthly expenses, your monthly costs, your payment between your principal and interest. Many times it's not a good idea to provide a letter that shows you're pre-approved for too much higher than what your offer price is. Some people feel that that's an invitation to the seller to counter offer you at a higher price because they know you're good for it. Not too much nowadays, because this happens more when we offer under the asking price, and it shows that you're approved for the asking price or more. Well, they could counter offer you. Nowadays, people won't counter offer you; they'll just go to the next offer. So anyway, in those cases, we may ask the lender to give you a special letter of pre-approval just for the number that the offer price is. I think it's important to say this because we sometimes use terms interchangeably and so on, but just because you don't have a financing contingency doesn't mean that you're a cash offer. What that means is, what I mean by that is that it doesn't mean that you promise to pay cash for the house. It just means that you won't have an out if you don't get approved for financing. You can still get a loan to purchase a property if you don't have a financing contingency. However, If you're going to write an offer that has no financing contingency, most sellers are going to require that you provide proof of funds. And we'll talk about that in another video, but it really is just, a letter or a copy of a statement from one of your financial institutions showing that you have those dollars in the bank. If you're really confident in your finances, and if for some reason you weren't going to be approved down the road for financing and you were comfortable paying cash, maybe you just sold your bigger house and you're buying a smaller house. Well, maybe you have extra money in the bank that you can pay cash for. You maybe would rather not, but it wouldn't be a hardship. You could write an offer without a financing contingency. It would make your offer more appealing because the seller knows that that's just one less thing that can go wrong. But just remember, if you have a failure to get approved for your loan, you're going to have to pay cash in that situation. So that's pretty much our tip of the day. Get a strong offer, a good strong letter of pre-approval. In the right situation, you can waive the financing contingency. It's always important to consider your own financial safety when you're making any of these moves. We're always happy on a case-by-case basis to discuss, what the possible outcomes would be in each situation, so you can make an intelligent choice. Thanks for tuning in today. Our next video is going to talk about taking the pre-approval letter to the next level and giving even more assurance and making it look like actually you are a cash offer or your offer is as good as cash. So we'll see you then, and we'll have a special guest for that video. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you tomorrow.